pension fund other assets pursuant to or not prohibited under section 3 of the bill. And they would clarify the definition of TRU area in the bill, and they would
Okay, there's some folks who are opposed to this bill. We'll bring them up in panels, but I wanted to give the mayor the courtesy, former Assemblyman and Mayor Mika Shore, City of Trenton. Welcome, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Chairman Sarlo and members of the committee. It's always good to be back in the legislature. Today I appear on behalf of the capital city and that runs Trenton Water Works, and we have 5 service municipalities, including the city. I have some serious concerns about S4875, not because pensions aren't unimportant, but because New Jersey has learned sometimes the hard way that financial engineering is not a substitute for sound discipline policy. And I'm reminded of the pension bond scandal, scam of transferring assets, and this is exactly what is proposed, that a service municipality can break away and submit their assets into the pension system. One such example is Hamilton, that would put a filtration plant on Duck Island, immediately south of Trenton's sewage treatment plant. Sell that one and then have the pension back that. The other thing is that the bill creates incentives that destabilize not only the pension system, but infrastructure planning at the same time. And it invites municipalities to pursue their own standalone solutions without coordinated regional planning. That's one of the examples. And the senator from Trenton wasn't even consulted, and this breaks congeniality protocols. Not only was Trenton not consulted on this, not only Trenton Water Works itself, but we're going away from breaking a regional approach to water to singular standalones without even consulting the #1 municipality that will be most affected. But it also creates a dangerous paradox because Trenton itself now will be able to avail itself of the pension system, and so you'll have competing municipalities putting their assets into the same pension fund. And then you'll have a choice, again, of winners and losers. What is the pension system going to pick? Trenton but not Hamilton, or Hamilton but not Trenton? And what we should be cautious is working together, especially when it affects water authorities, to include us all in this decision-making. And water policy remains driven by public service, not financial transactions. So we would ask you to hold the bill, have a regional solution to any problems, but not to break it alone and then submit your assets into the pension system, which not only destabilizes the pension system itself, with memories that we're still paying off the pension bond scheme from the 90s, and work to a regional solution. Thanks so much, Mr. Chair and members of the committee.
Thank you, Mayor. Good to see you. Okay. Before I do the rest of the vote, you can wait. Okay. Anthony Stratford, Trenton, opposed, only to testify. Margaret Horn, Trenton, opposed, only to testify. John Francis White, Trenton, New Jersey, opposed, only to testify. Mika Covington, opposed, only to testify. Courtney Peters, Manning, Hopewell Township, in favor, only to testify. Jennifer Keith, Maloney, Union Township, in favor, only to testify. Kevin Drennan, American Public Infrastructure, please come up in favor. Is Peter Chenio, New Jersey Policy Perspective. Come on up. Not sure, sir, what side you're on, so seeks amendment. And I'm going to ask Arnold Williams, League of Black and Latino Voters, opposed, to come on up. We're going to first go to our former Executive Director, Mr. Chairman Stern.
Thank you. I'm not going to be too long, but I appreciate it. In the Assembly, Mayor of Hamilton, Jeff Martin, put in a slip in support of the bill. The Mayor of Ewing, Bruce Simon, was there to testify in support of the bill. Deputy Mayor Courtney Peters Manning from Hopewell was supportive of the bill, and newly sworn in Mayor of Lawrence, Chris Bobbitt, also was there to support the bill. The most important thing with respect to the mayor's comments is the bill itself is a tool. It gives the opportunity that if this is a way that these towns, including the city of Trenton, wanted to participate in, they could do so. And the mayor actually laid out some realities of the pension system, but it's much different than the pension bonds that happened under Governor Christie Whitman. Happy to take some questions if needed. But what's important, the bill mandates nothing. It just puts another tool in the toolbox. The city of Trenton can be part of what is the regional utility, and within the city of Trenton, this asset in kind concept that has been around even in legislative here, it hasn't moved. This is the furthest this concept has moved in a while, and which we certainly appreciate from American Public Infrastructure's perspective. So just wanted to put that on the record, and certainly if there are questions, happy to take them.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chen?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair, members of the committee, for the opportunity to testify today. Peter Chen, Senior Policy Analyst at New Jersey Policy Perspective. And I just want to echo some of the Mayor's comments about the pension system more broadly. This is, every time the state has tried to find a way to get around funding the pension system through some one weird trick to solve the pension system. There's not a weird trick. The way to fund the pension system is to fund the pension system. And so the Government Finance Officers Association, which is the association of state and local budget officers across the country, has a specific advisory against using public infrastructure assets as part of the transferring them to pension funds for a variety of reasons, some of which I've detailed in the written testimony which I provided. You're welcome to look at their advisory statement as well. And so I just put a note of caution on this tool. I agree with Kevin. This is a tool that is available, but the situation with Trenton Water Works specifically should not be used as a blueprint for how this should work across the state. These kinds of transfers should be taken very cautiously and very carefully. And I guess the reason why we're seeking amendments, not supporting or opposing specifically, is that there should be more guardrails in place to ensure that there's democratic accountability, to ensure that these transfers are financially sound, and to ensure that some of the pitfalls that are noted in the GFOA statement don't come to pass. So I'm happy to take questions as well.
Yes, sir. You're good, sir. You're live.
Good afternoon. My name is Arnold Williams. I'm a new resident of Trenton by way of Jersey City, New Jersey, Hudson County area. And I'll go further, to suggest that there are already multiple tools that the state and the legislators can use that would guarantee, Trentonites, proper use of, whether it be by way of legislation or referendum. There are any number of tools that are already at your disposal that would help Trenton to improve its own waterway system. And any time, and I can testify more specifically to this, that anytime, the legislators who vote on these particular issues, similar to this, is headed for privatization. And I can tell you privatization, Jersey City Water, Bayonne Water, resulted, in huge costs on the taxpayer. It was almost like having, a double tax in some cases. They went from $300 to nearly $1,600 a year. You know, there were cases in Jersey City that resulted in, you know, taxpayers having $30,000 bills because of the mistakes in billing that these private, now private, once public utilities were charged. So I would, you know, explore some of those tools that are already in your box, or in your toolbox, you know, by way of one such way which would be interesting for Trenton, you know, and then you get a real sense of, you know, how folks feel about this, particularly the ones who paid already, who already paid for the water system in Trenton. You get a real sense of how they feel. A referendum. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Just a comment, Mr. Chen, I would just say this. I believe, it's factual, there's been no, the last 4 years, there's been no administration and legislature that's fully funded the pension like we have. So to say that we're not doing our job on funding the pension, I respectfully disagree with you on that, sir.
Oh, I mean, as you know, NJDP applauds the legislature, the governor for fully funding the actuarial pension amounts. That doesn't change, unfortunately. Well, unfortunately, the reason why the pension payments have to be so large now, right, is because of neglecting prior administrations and legislatures, which, you know.
But to say, finish. And to Mr. Drennan, this is really a creative way of dealing with helping the pension, at the same time putting necessary improvements into the water system. Instead of the alternative would be to sell it off to a private utility and run the risk of rates going up, as this gentleman said. This is a very creative way of dealing with it. Is that correct?
Exactly. And it's something that has been done. It's not as common in America, but there are pension investments in infrastructure. That's not, but I mean, as a country, Australia and then Europe has done this successfully.
Member Scanlon for a comment or question?
Just a couple of questions. Later this day. I don't understand how ascribing a value to an asset, I think Mr. Chen and I are probably on the same wavelength here. So you ascribe a value to this water system, $100 million, right? You transfer that into the pension system at that value. But it's still a water system. You still got to operate it. It's still generating revenue, which is going back into the system. How does it, so other than an accounting gimmick, how does it help you? How does it change, other than, I guess, Trent could lower their pension payments because it would look artificially like there's more money in the system than there is. Unless you could liquidate it. I don't understand.
So, what you're saying is not wrong, but it's also not right? So,
Said like every woman in my life.
So, similar, when, for instance, I mean, and this model's absolutely right, the state of New Jersey did this with the lottery system.
I was going to bring the lottery system up. At least the lottery system throws off cash.
Correct.
But it wasn't new cash, and at the time I said this, the lottery system, the cash was thrown off, was paying for other stuff first. You had to backfill it. So it wasn't brand new, it was just, we were showing we were making a commitment, but it was throwing off cash. This isn't throwing off cash, other than, so help.
So, yeah, so that's right. So what the lottery can't be done is sold, okay? And so if you move the value and you use $100 million and put the $100 million of the asset into the pension system, while it isn't intended to be sold, unless the pension system, but it does have that cash value, it has the ability to be sold, which therefore, for actuarial purposes, it does carry that value. In addition to that, within the pension system, let's say with your $100 million, and you wanted to sell pieces of it, maybe to another pension system, you can have a 10% stake, so then you can have 10% cash. So it has that value. In addition to that, like any utility, whether it's a public utility owned by Trenton, as in Trenton Water Works, private utility owned by American Water or Suez or Veolia or whoever, they do have to borrow for that purpose. And again, to the point that the mayor made earlier, this allows for borrowing for the purposes of those capital investments, which in any form, whether it's public or private or somewhere in between, would have to borrow for. But the IRS rules were changed about 6 years ago. And with those changes, and only for the purposes of an asset that is owned by the pension system, right, owned by the pension system, where the bonding is. So if we had to borrow, let's say, $400 million. Well, you borrow that $400 million, right, and it's a public entity at public rates, at tax-exempt bonds, that $400 sits in the pension system prior to paying the bills that would have to go to, for the capital improvements, for building it potentially, which is a potential opportunity in this case. And that cash that was borrowed is going to earn, right, the rate of return of our pension system is now at 7%. Any other types of situation, that money, with the change in pension rules, would not be able to stay in the pension system. But that interest earned on that cash prior to it going out and paying for those bills, that interest is there. Now you're valuing the asset again, and it can't, under this legislation, it can't be sold for 5 years, and even at the time it can be sold, the public entities that put it into the pension system have the right to take it back instead of having it be sold. In the meantime, while they're doing that, while it's in there, and you said this right, so you have that value, that $400 million that gets spread out amongst the municipalities, and then what that does is their funded ratio, right, just like any other investment that the pension makes, it increases that funded ratio. And only in the event that the pension were to, reach insolvency would the sale of that asset matter. But for an investment purpose, it is something that can be calculated.
Okay, real quick, and I don't want to dig too deep into here, but, so you're saying you put these assets into the pension system, would increase the funding ratio, which would reduce the obligation of the municipality. Let's say you took $1 billion worth of assets, and you completely, and it called for no cash input whatsoever. You have hard assets that can't pay pensioners unless you start selling stuff off.
Yeah, and so
how does that help?
And within this bill, right, to those concerns. First, the asset has to have a third party, right, assessment of what the value is, and this is what's put into the bill. In addition to that, right, that can be accepted or it can be rejected. The Division of Investments, who decided to make these investments for our state pension system in any situation, what they can choose to accept or reject it. So even if, let's say, the towns wanted to do this, and the Division of Investments, who manages our pension portfolio, decides that that's a risk they shouldn't take, or it's a value that they don't agree with, or whatever else they use to make those determinations of the investments, they can reject that, right? So the Division of Investments has that full authority, and that board that's appointed by the governor, right, has the full authority to accept or reject the value and the asset class that they want to invest in. This gives the Division of Investments, in this instance, the opportunity to have this as another investment class.
I get it. Yeoman's effort. I appreciate
I'm sorry?
it. Yeoman's effort. I appreciate it. But those collateral marginal benefits with interest collected, et cetera, okay, it can help. But too often I see government officials getting around their obligations by artificial accounting tricks and lowering the obligation because of an asset that doesn't really have anything. It has value, but it's not value to be translated to payments to pensioners. I still have a problem. Mr. Chairman, you probably just want to agree with me, right?
You have any questions?
That's it.
Thank you, guys. Great job.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a couple of residents, I'm not sure if they're here. We give everybody 2 minutes. In a panel, Sherry Garrett. Sherry is here. Come on up, Sherry. Paul Bethea. Paul, are you here? No. Carolyn Clark. Come on up. Kate Delaney. Kate, come on up. Robin Vaughn, are you here?
Yes.
Hi, Robin, come on up. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go my right, your left, and we'll go right around. Everybody take 2 minutes and share your thoughts with us. You're live.
Sherry Garrett, Trenton resident. The panel that was up here, the persons that were up here prior to us kind of helped me go into what I would state far as opposing this act. Yes, it just to me sounds like that taking a municipality's infrastructure based on the information of the state of Trenton Water Works, doesn't seem like it's going to benefit the pension fund. And to me, also, the question is, based on this bill, if Trenton Water Works, from my understanding, brings in about $400 million, if Trenton Water Works brings in $400 million, and Trenton is getting transitional aid, there's a conflict there. So obviously, there are municipalities, or some of the municipalities that receive water from Trenton Water Works, either not paying their bills, or the money is, I'm not understanding, it's a conflict. So I'm not really seeing how that will benefit the pension fund, for one. Two, we have bonded out for repairs and whatnot for a number of years to improve the Trenton Water Works system to provide clean and drinkable water. The state of New Jersey have been in control of the operations of Trenton Water Works for a number of years now. You control the personnel, you control how we operate, you implement, appear to say you're implementing certain requirements for us to be able to operate. We have done that, we have bonded out. So I'm not understanding why when I read in the newspaper that the commissioner of the Department of Environmental Protection comes there and take pictures of an eroding building where we have been bonding out and paying these bonds to make sure that the infrastructure and the operating and the system of supplying clean and proper drinking water is not is failing. So I'm not understanding that whole logic. And I would put the pension fund in jeopardy by taking infrastructure assets for the pension fund to have to pay that back, even though it doesn't exactly read that. And also, it seems like it's more of a cash cow, I'm using that term, because based on this bill, it's a lot of expenditures and expenditures that are, and money that has to be produced or generated from the rateables that are going to go into this fund just to do what? To keep the pension fund solvent. So it's a lot of conflicting things that are going on here, and I just think it's a bad idea, and I oppose it.
Thank you very much for your input. Next person.
Caroline Clark. I am a Trenton resident, owner, and taxpayer. Owner of Trenton Water Works and taxpayer. I am here to oppose Senate Bill 4875. I'm going to start with WIPA. So WIPA was passed in 2015 to move utilities that were in crisis. It offered them the ability to be transferred to public or private entities. I believe WIPA is probably more properly called the Water Infrastructure Privatization Act, because every single time that WIPA has been invoked, the entity was privatized. It's interesting that this law was in existence since 2015, but it was not used until the Murphy administration under the Wall Street Tycoon. This administration has been pro-privatization from day one. They came into existence in 2018, and 1 month later, they put Trenton Water Works under oversight at the DEP. Since that time, we have remained under oversight from DCA and DEP, and in the 11th hour, now the administration is saying that Trenton Water Works is in dire straits, catastrophic failure. If they have had oversight for 8 years, When they came in, we were not under the risk of catastrophic failure. Under their oversight, as they're going through the door, we're being deemed in catastrophic failure status. This seems to me to be a clear conflict, a predetermined outcome. It is a furtherance of the state's initial effort from 2009, where they tried to sell Trenton Waterworks. They have never stopped. This legislature has also been complicit in the initiatives and the efforts to sell Trenton Waterworks. To 2018, you passed a bill. 2022, you passed another bill. Clearly, you are pro-selling Trenton Waterworks, and this citizen campaign, citizen fund is another step in that direction.
Thank you, ma'am.
I can't hear, there's too much noise in the audience. If people want to have a conversation, they should go outside.
Good afternoon, Senators. My name is Kate Delaney, and I'm the South Jersey organizer for New Jersey Food and Water Watch. And I am testifying in opposition to S 4875. This bill would endanger the future of public water systems and undercut New Jersey residents' ability to have a say in decisions about their water. This bill will create a fund to which municipal officials could transfer their public water assets. The fund will be empowered to then potentially sell off these public water systems to for-profit water companies. This bill would accelerate the sale of public water systems under the Water Infrastructure Protection Act, or WIPA. And I agree with the corrected acronym. It is very much a bill that leads to privatization. Food and Water Watch has long opposed WIPA, which allows municipal governments to sell water systems without going out to public referendum. My Food and Water Watch colleagues and I have worked to reverse anti-democratic processes of WIPA through municipal petition efforts, because we ardently believe water is a human right and residents deserve a say in the future of their water systems. This bill would deprive the public of a voice and would create a curtain behind which critical decisions about water infrastructure will be made without ratepayers being in the know. I urge you to vote no on S 4875 to ensure that the public is always empowered to make decisions about their water. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Robin Vaughn, resident and taxpayer, former city council representative, City of Trenton, term 2018-2022, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, 08618. For the record, I will cite from a written testimony that was submitted, authored by Lisa McCormick, Lambertville, New Jersey, emailed January 7, 2026 to the Office of Legislative Services, Senator Nicholas Katari, Assemblyman Craig Coughlin, Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee Aide, and Assembly Appropriations Aide. Honorable Chairs, committee members, I submit this testimony in fierce and unequivocal opposition to Bill 5980 and Senate Bill 4875, legislation being disgracefully fast-tracked through this lame-duck session under the misleading banner of a citizens fund. Do not be fooled by bureaucratic language and complex financial mechanisms. It is core to this bill. It is a legitimized theft. It creates a tool for wealthier, more powerful communities to seize vital public assets from one of our state's poorest cities under the guise of asset optimization and pension security. The target is Trenton Waterworks, a 220-year-old utility owned outright by the people of Trenton, who have endured generations of systemic disinvestment and are now being told the solution is to surrender our most valuable public legacy. The moral and legal premise is rotten. As a customer of a utility, you pay for its service. You do not gain the right to seize a company's infrastructure. because you are dissatisfied customers. If the shareholders of a private water corporation like American Water were told their ownership would be transferred to a consortium of customer towns, the outcry would be immediate and universal, correctly denounced as an unconstitutional taking. Yet this precisely what this bill facilitates for Trenton, a city, a poverty rate nearly triple the state average. This is not regional cooperation, it is exploitation, dressed in actuarial clothing. The process is an affront to democracy. This is not an emergency measure. It's a deliberately complex financial structuring of monumental consequence, being rushed through a lame duck session, period, when public scrutiny is lowest and political accountability is evaporating. The Office of Legislative Services notes the failure of the executive branch to provide a fiscal note, leaving you to vote on a scheme with indeterminate fiscal impacts that could bind our state pension system to risky, illiquid infrastructure assets. To vote on this without a complete independent financial analysis is legislative malpractice.
Please begin
The
to wrap up.
proponents,
Please begin to wrap up, ma'am. Thank you.
okay, very,
Thank you. Oh, good. Right there. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for your passion, testimony. We appreciate it. I believe there's one other person, Councilwoman at Large, J.C. Edwards. Councilwoman, are you here?
Yes.
Come on up, Councilwoman, and then you can come to the front, Councilwoman. And then we will move on. Thank you, Councilwoman. You're good.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak today on this very important bill, 4875. Again, my name is Councilwoman Josie Edwards from the city of Trenton, and I'm here in strong opposition to State Senate Bill 4875 as it relates to Trenton Water Works. The so-called Citizens Fund Act as it relates to Trenton Water Works, this bill is presented as a financial management tool. In reality, it creates a mechanism for the state to leverage local public assets, particularly revenue-producing utilities like the Trenton Water Works, to support state obligations, including pension liabilities. Trenton Water Works is not a surplus asset or a financial instrument. It is essential public infrastructure that provides clean drinking water to more than 225,000 residents across multiple municipalities. Its revenues are paid by ratepayers for one purpose only: to operate the system and reinvest in aging infrastructure to protect public health and environmental safety. Using a local water utility asset or revenue stream to help shore up state pensions shifts the state's fiscal responsibilities onto municipal ratepayers. This is not pension reform, it is cost shifting, and it risks higher water rates, deferred infrastructure investment, and reduced local accountability. This bill allows public entities to transfer or monetize revenue-producing assets into a legally separate fund whose primary goal is maximizing asset value. That framework is fundamentally incompatible with the governance of water utilities, which must prioritize affordability, safety, environmental compliance, and democratic oversight, not financial yield. Trenton Water Works already faces significant challenges, including aging pipes, lead service line replacement, capital backlogs, and the need for stronger governance and transparency. The solution is direct investment reform and technical assistance, not financial restructuring that distances controls from the communities that rely on this system every day. Water is a public trust. It should never be leveraged to solve unrelated state fiscal problems. For these reasons, I urge you to reject Senate Bill 4875. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody for your passionate testimony on each side of the aisle. We have any discussion by members, comments? Senator Greenstein.
Thank you. I understand how people feel. This right now is a utility that is owned by Trenton, and anytime there's something like that, the city would be very strongly not in favor of any other towns being involved. But what's very important here is that, number one, there are many problems with Trenton Water. I think all of you know that. There have been many problems with it. The DEP has been very involved because of all those problems. But what's also very important is that Trenton is one of only a couple of towns involved with Trenton Water. We have Hamilton, Ewing, Hopewell, and Lawrence. All of those towns get Trenton Water. None of them have any say. So we've been looking for methods to get those towns involved or to make sure that there's funding to solve the problems that exist at Trenton Water. So while I understand that people will be very upset about it, this is just one, as the chairman said, a creative way of trying to do something about the problems there. And there are others as well, like getting the other towns all much more involved than they are right now. But it is a problem that needs to be solved, and we can't overlook it. I know DEP has been very involved with trying to help, and it's just something I think we need to deal with, and that's the reason why I wanted to sponsor this bill. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator Greenstein. Any other comments? Motion on the bill? Representative Johnson, second Greenstein, roll call.
A motion to amend and release Senate Bill number 4875. Senator Amato.
I have a lot of respect for the sponsor, but unfortunately, some testimony and what I've read in the bill at this point, I'm going
Is it no? Senator Steinhardt.
I say grateful for everyone who came up and made their passion please. I don't know.
Is it no? Senator Testa. No. Is it no? Senator O'Scanlan. Is it no? Chair Sarlo.
Yes.
Is it yes? Vice Chair Greenstein.
Yes.
Is it yes? Senator Ruiz.
Is it yes?
Yes. Senator Cruz Perez. Is it yes? Senator Dykman.
Yes.
Is it yes? Senator Johnson.
Yes.
Is it yes? Senator Zwicker.
Yes.
Is it yes? Senator Burgess.
Yes.
Is it yes? Senator Berzicelli.
Yes.
Is it yes? Senate Bill number 4875 as amended is favorably released.